Hello and welcome to episode 76 of the Victorian Studio podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from my studio here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Welcome to all new and returning viewers. I hope you enjoy seeing what I have to share today. Well, Happy New Year to everyone, and to all those who celebrated. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Unfortunately, myself and my family all came down with either colds or flus over the holidays, so my apologies if my voice is a little bit raspier than normal. I wanted to also say thank you to some fellow podcasters who had mentioned my podcast on their episodes. Of course, Tally and Marlisha were always so very kind in mentioning this podcast on theirs and mentioning my knit-alongs. If you haven't joined their group or watched their podcasts, I would highly recommend it. They have some new knit-alongs going on that started January the 1st as well, and they're always great fun to participate in, so please check them out. I'll make sure I link them below. I also wanted to say thank you very much to Lisa, that's Saratoga Knitting of the Knitting by the Sea podcast, who I tagged in from the last episode to do the questionnaire that I previously answered. So thank you so much, Lisa, for also answering those questions. It was great learning more about you as well. And also I wanted to thank another Lisa, that's Lisa of Fibernymph Dyeworks and the 90% Knitting podcast. She was very kind to mention my shop, my order that she had placed with my shop had arrived, and she showed it on her last episode and was very sweet in her comments about my work. So thank you so much, Lisa. And also at the end of the episode I have a very special announcement about a little collab that I'm doing with Lisa of the 90% Knitting Fibernymph Dyeworks yarn dyer. So that's very exciting. Well, I can't believe that 3 months passed so very quickly and that the PHN toy knit-along is now done for another year. It was great fun to see everybody's participation in it. Thank you so much to everyone for entering all of your wonderful toys in our thread over on the Ravelry group, and also for all the chatter and camaraderie that you showed between October the 1st and December 31st in that knit-along. It was great fun and a great honor to co-host this yet another year with the ladies over at Penhook and Needles, and also Kay and Dan of the Bakery Bears. So as I've done in previous episodes, let's do one final slideshow of all the adorable toys that were submitted over in the Victorian Studio podcast group on Ravelry. Enjoy. as I said before, always great fun to see everyone's creation, so thank you everyone. So at the end of the episode, I'll be drawing for the last 3 prizes for that knit-along, and so stay tuned for that. I also have some other prizes to award today, and that's for the first year of the Harry Potter knit-along that we're running in our group. It ended on December the 31st, and year 2 began January the 1st. So if you haven't checked out our Ravelry group, you'll see a brand new thread over there with same rules and regulations as last year. You certainly didn't have to participate last year to participate this year. Even though it's year 2, anyone can join in at any time. And today I'll be awarding 6 prizes for the 2017 year of the Harry Potter knit-along. So again, stay tuned for that. So I was amazed. It was over 2,700 posts in that thread. So here's to an even more exciting year 2 in the Harry Potter knit-along. I've already received great feedback that people were glad that we were continuing this on. And Bonnie and I have a few ideas up our sleeves that we're going to start in February with some special challenges and prizes for the knit-alongs. So also stay tuned for that. Again, if you haven't seen our Ravelry group, there's a link below in the description box so you can check it out and read up on all the details about that knit-along that'll run again all the way through to the end of 2018. So let's see, I guess today I'll start with a few knitting projects that I was able to accomplish over the last few weeks. Of course, like everyone else that celebrated, I was busy with holidays, so I don't have a huge amount of knitting to share with you, but I will share a few things. And let's start with the smallest items first. And that's just some more ornaments that I've been adding to a few that I've done previously. So I have quite a few skeins of mini skeins of yarn, and instead of doing a blanket or something like that, I've been making these little mini sweaters, and eventually I'd like to put them in a bunting or some kind of decoration. So this is one sweater that I did previously, and this was from the Knit Picks pattern, which I don't think I enjoyed knitting up as much as I did with this other pattern that I've been using for 4 others now that I've knit up. And this is a pattern by Emily5446 called Mini Sweater Ornaments. And I just wrote out the instructions here because it was easy just to take this little bag along and do this as a quick project. So I used US 1.5 needles and only about 5 grams of fingering weight yarn for each one of these little sweaters. So previously I've done these 2 and submitted them over in the Harry Potter House Cup. They're a nice quick entry to add to classes. So a little Gryffindor sweater and a little green one. So I thought for another couple of classes that started in January I would do a couple more. So the first one is, both of these yarns actually I received from Tanya, that's Dark Path 30 over on Ravelry, and she sent me a few mini skeins in a favorite character swap we did for the O-Loops Harry Potter knit-along this past fall. So the first yarn that I used is this Seven Sisters Arts Meridian, and the colorway is Damsfly. And this was great to use. I love the color, and it was so nice to try out these yarns with these little small projects. So again, only used about 5 grams of that one, and then I did a second sweater from another yarn that I believe that I got from Tanya, and this is an O-Loops mini skein that I got from her. It's Lydia's Platinum Sock in the Nargles colorway. So again, these are like sock yarns, superwash merino, nylon blends. So the 2 sweaters that I ended up making this past few weeks are another couple really easy only take maybe an hour or so to knit these up, and these are great for entries in classes. So I'm getting a nice variety of colors and designs in the sweaters. So I'm hoping one day when I get a whole bunch of these to either, I don't know, either hang them on the tree next year or make a bunting out of all of them. I have yet to see what I'm going to use them for, but they're a lot of fun just to knit up. So I'll be continuing to do a few more of these. It's a great way for me to use up my mini skeins because I don't have like a little blanket that a lot of people use their mini skeins for. So this is a good way for me to use those up. So that's the first project that I wanted to share with you. The second one is also a fairly small project, but this one I wanted to do for both the toy knit along and for Christmas. And this is in a bag I also got from Tanya in that swap. Great Harry Potter bag to add to my collection. And this time I wanted to make a little toy. I had seen on Instagram there were quite a few posts of one designer, and I can't remember the name right now, but it was all little miniature mice, and they were so cute. I went on to Ravelry to see what that pattern was, and I just came across this other pattern that I thought would be so cute to make for Christmas, and it's called Santa Mouse. So there's a picture of the design, and this was really a lot of fun to make. It looks like a long pattern. It is, because she is very detailed in everything that she instructs you to do. I mean, she basically holds your hand for every part of it. I started this on December the 18th, and I think it only took a few days. I think I got this done before Christmas. So maybe a week or so, because there's lots of little parts. And the only thing I would say with this pattern is, and it's a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to show the pattern itself, but it is knit mostly flat. So what I did was I knit what I could in the round, like the sleeves and the arms and that kind of thing of the pattern. So what I did was I just pulled out a bunch of scraps from my yarn, scraps and mini skeins, and kind of pulled out the colors that I thought I could use. The one thing that I started out with was this London House Yarns, the very final bits of the Four Founders colorway, because there was a nice color in here that I wanted to use for the actual mouse's head. So I used up all of that. And then there was a few other colors that I used from here, including the green for some mittens and that, and I'll show them in a minute. But that's one of the yarns that I used for it. Also, I needed some pink for his nose, so I just pulled out a little mini skein that had pink in it, because you use so very little of these in projects like this. I also needed some white, so this, I think this was just some undyed Knit Picks yarn that I had. And then a little bit of black, all kinds of colors. But for the main color of the Santa Mouse, I needed a nice red color. And I ended up going to Woolsey Wool and getting some yarn for another project. And I found this really beautiful deep, rich red color, and I thought this would be perfect for his coat. So this is some Barocco Fiora, and this is, let's see, 40% cotton, 30% viscose, 15% alpaca, 10% nylon, and 5% wool. Real mix of ingredients there, but I really, really love the deep, rich red for it. So putting all those little yarns together, I came up with this little guy, and so I was really pleased with the results. What I also did when I was making him is I also made him around a pliable metal armature. so I can pose his arms and his legs if I want to. So I'll have pictures at the end of the podcast to show you, you know, while I was making him, what that looked like. But I basically started with the head and then did the body, and as I was stuffing the body, that's when I created this armature for his legs, his torso, and his arms. And then I proceeded to follow the pattern. So there he is there. His hood is quite big, but I think he's kind of cute. And because that's the last of the Ravenclaw colorway from the London House Yarns, the 4 founders. I used every single bit of that for his head and his ears, so I didn't have enough left for his paws, so that's why he has little green mittens on. And then the only thing I didn't show you here is I had a little bit of a metallic style yarn. It was the Dreams in Fiber Golden Snitch colorway that I used for his belt buckle. So yeah, a lot of little fiddly bits, but a lot of fun to do. I did an I-cord for his tail. Let's see, what else can I tell you about him? He's stuffed as usual, you know, with regular stuffing. But yeah, a lot of fun. And then I also used a little mini skein, and this is all I have left. A little wee bit left of another colorway I believe Tanya sent me. And this is Molasses Swamp Monster from Blue Moon Fiber Arts, and this is on their Super Sparkle Base 92% Superwash Merino. So this is a tiny little mini skein that she had sent me that I used for Santa's bag, and that I thought was perfect for the little mouses. Santa's bag, because I love the sparkle in it. And again, I'll have pictures at the end so you can see it better. And then what I did, I wanted to put a couple of gifts in there. I just took some scrapbook paper that I had that had little mini designs, Christmas designs, and made little presents out of those papers to fit in his pouch. So yeah, that was my last entry for the Pen, Hook, and Needles toy knit along for 2017. So yeah, great fun to make, and now I can bring them out every Christmas time. So I would highly recommend that pattern. I don't think it was expensive at all, but again, be warned, it's very fiddly. A lot of small pieces, but as I said, it's very detailed in the instructions that she gives you. So in all, let's see, the Fiora, I only used 16 grams of that. And yeah, I think that's about all I can say on that project. So I have lots of that red Fiora left that I can, I'm sure, use for more projects. As a matter of fact, it's perfect because in January I'm supposed to do a project in the Harry Potter House Cup that is made all in red. So I'm going to have to find something to make with that. And with Valentine's Day coming up, I'm sure there'll be lots of ideas on things I can make using the rest of that. So those were the small projects that I wanted to show you today. The next two are a little bit larger. The next one is the Christmas Eve cast-on socks that I started, obviously, Christmas Eve. Danny from the Little Bobbins Knits podcast has had the tradition over the last few years to have you join her in her tradition of casting on a new pair of socks on Christmas Eve. And so this is the 3rd year that I've participated in this, and it's been great fun. So after hubby and I went out for a dinner on Christmas Eve for his birthday, I sat down by the fire and got started on these. And I've made great progress on this. These are just vanilla socks, but I'm using some yarn that I got, I think, last Christmas from Lisa at Fibernymph Dyeworks. And this is her Home for the Holidays colorway. Self-striping, beautiful. Love the deep, rich tones of these. And I split it so that I could do 2 socks concurrently. If you've been here before, you know that's my MO. So not only am I using this, but also some of her undyed yarn for the heels, toes, and cuffs. So I am down to the toes on these, so I'm almost done. And I am thrilled with the results of these so far. Lots of fun to see this colorway. The stripes are just great. And I started them at the same point on her yarn so that I could get 2 matching. So just the white toes to do, and I'm finished those. Again, 2x2 cuff that I do for about 20 rows. And what I love about the stripes is you don't even have to count. I just did it until I went to a certain point in the striping pattern, and then started the German short row heel, and then continued on the foot until again you got to a stripe that you wanted to end on. That, you know, I tried on my foot to make sure it fits, of course. And now that I've finished the green stripe, I'm ready to finish up with the white toes. So yep, that won't be too long before I can get these done. And the other great thing about this is Lisa announced on her podcast a new program that she started January 1st called the Conversion Rewards Program. And she is helping people who have a bunch of her yarn in their stash they haven't used up to get to it, to start knitting it up. And when you do, and submit it into this thread over on the Fibernymph Dyeworks group over on Ravelry, you receive points to earn new yarn for the new year. So by using the old yarn up, you're getting some credits to eventually get some brand new yarn from her. So what a wonderful program. I can hardly wait. So luckily the Christmas Eve cast on projects will count for that program. So as soon as I am finished these, I'm going to enter them over there and start my points to get some more Fibernymph Dyeworks yarn, because I love it so very much. So thank you very much, Lisa. That's really generous of you. So yeah, that's another pair of socks almost done. And thank you so much, Danny at Little Bobbins. It's always great fun to participate in the Christmas Eve cast on, and so many people have also joined in and are knitting along on that as well. So let's see, the last thing that I wanted to share with you knitting wise today is a very large project. It's for another owl over at the Harry Potter House Cup group. And what an owl is a project that takes 2 to 3 months to complete. What you need to do is submit a proposal to their examiners, and once they approve your project, then you can start as soon as it's been approved. So luckily I got mine submitted. I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Eve because it was midnight Pacific time when they were starting to take proposals. So I submitted mine and got it approved the same day. So January 1st, New Year's Day, I was able to cast on a new blanket that I'm doing. And I have until the end of March to finish this up. But I've been working on it quite a bit because I know I'm going to be a little bit busier in the next few months, so I took the advantage of also having some sick days at home this past week and getting a good start on this owl. So here it is here in my vintage Black Cat Christmas bag that I knit up this year. It's wonderful having this huge bag for a large project like a blanket. And the pattern that I am using, let's see, I hope I have a copy of it here. I'm basing this on a design, but not following it exactly. The pattern that this is inspired by is called the Aspens. And this is a beautiful pattern that was gifted to me by a fellow raveler. And it's basically a super bulky project. You actually take super bulky yarn, hold it double, and use US 36, size 36 needles if you followed this pattern. So it creates it almost looks like a rug, actually. If you look here, it's really, really large. So I didn't want to make something that large and bulky. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the design, the cable work of the design, and incorporating it into a couple of panels into a blanket using lighter weight yarn and smaller needles. So because I also wanted to make it as a blanket, I needed a fair amount of yarn, and I went on Knit Picks a couple of weeks ago and purchased 25 balls of this Brava bulky yarn in their cream colorway. And this is just acrylic, but it's so very soft, and I think it was even on sale when I got it. So I have plenty to do for this this project. But yeah, the acrylic yarn, I mean, to make this in wool would cost an arm and a leg, so this is a cost-effective way of making a larger blanket. But this project that I wanted to do, I wanted to do something with cables to meet the criteria of this owl. It's kind of like classes, but they have different owls that you can do projects for. And the one for what they call herbology is something related to plants. So one of the things they recommend you doing is something that has a lot of cable work in it. So that's why I'm doing a cable work blanket. So you have to start with doing a swatch, so I did that, and you submit all of your plans, how you're going to make it. And so I designed this up, and I've already got probably 10% of it done. So I am using, let's see, these are size US 13s, and I'm just holding the yarn singly, but here it is so far. Now it's obviously going to be stretched out once it's off the needles, but until then I'll just kind of stretch out the one area so you can see the cable work so far. So there's 2 panels of this cable work, and this is from the Aspens design, the pattern there. And I've just added a few sections of, there's both garter stitch and some reversed stockinette as well. So yeah, I am just thrilled with the look of that. I really love the cables in this. And then there's another section of garter, and again another section of the cables. So yeah, for something that I just started, I guess a week ago, this is what I've got accomplished so far. So it will be something, it'll be great fun to knit, especially when it's cold, and it's been incredibly cold here, close to -45, -50 with wind chills. Some days it's been great to have this just to get it started on your lap, and trying to keep the cats off my lap and kneading it because they would certainly ruin it. But it's fun to work on it while when it's a cold day, and I'm sure the rest of January and February when it's cold here, this will be a great project to have to sit by the fire and knit on. So that's the biggest project that I've undertaken so far. I do have a couple more coming up for the house cup. and I'll share those with you as I start those over the next few weeks. Okay, so that's it for knitting. One thing that I wanted to share with you was something that was also inspired by the House Cup. One of the classes this month had a few different prompts, but one of them was anybody who was a yarn dyer to dye up a sock blank. And I had never dyed up a sock blank before. I had one in my stash that my daughter had given me with a bunch of other undyed yarn that she had given me for Mother's Day, I think 2 years ago. And I was very tentative about attempting to even dye this up, you know, how to start, how to do it. So I finally got up my nerve last night and decided to try my hand at dyeing this up. So what I thought I would do at first was just to dye up a sock blank in a gradient. Now, if you don't know what a sock blank is, it's a piece of machine knitted, just a rectangle that you dye up and then pull apart to knit up into whatever you want, like socks or whatever. So I've seen a few people do gradients, you know, all the same color or different colors, maybe of a rainbow. Some people hand paint them, and some people stamp them and do quite detailed sock blanks. And then when you take it apart, it doesn't look anything like what you've obviously painted on it. And it's kind of interesting to see how it looks once it's knit up again. So what I decided to do was get out my paintbrushes and a few of my dyes, and I decided to treat the sock blank like a canvas and do mine like a painting. So it was great fun to do. It took me quite a few hours to do this, but after I had painted it up, I then wrapped it up in saran, in plastic wrap, and then steamed it in a pan that I had, a roaster, that I had a little bit of water in the bottom. And I used some metal cookie cutters to make kind of a base to set my rolled up ball of saran wrapped knitting on, and steamed it for about half an hour using parchment paper over top to keep the steam in, and it worked wonderfully when I took it out and cooled it and then gave it its you know, soak bath. At the end there was no dye that came out. The colors changed a little bit lighter than I had painted them, but I was pretty happy with the results for my first attempt. So at the end of the episode I'll show you pictures that I took, because for the class they asked for detailed pictures of your process. So I took a fair amount of them, so I'll add those at the end of the episode. But I thought I would show you the resultant sock blank that I ended up with. As I said, my daughter had given me this as a gift, and it's the Knit Picks sock blank. And this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it's fingering weight yarn, 462 yards. So now that I've dyed it up, now I'm just going to have to see how long it's going to take me before I actually have the nerve to pull it all out and knit it up again. Because what I decided to do was a design that looked like a painting, and I decided just to do kind of like a mountain range. So this is the sock blank that I ended up painting up using a few different paintbrushes and just a couple of different colors of my dyes. I didn't want to use too many colors, so yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it for the first attempt at doing a sock blank. What I did was I soaked the sock blank in some water and citric acid, and then laid it out on my blocking pads with some plastic wrap underneath it. I pinned it out and then just started painting, and then when I was happy with the results, I then just put another piece of plastic wrap over top and then rolled it up into a long tube lengthwise like this, and then you'll see in the pictures, then I rolled that up into look like a cinnamon roll. And yeah, it worked really well. As I said, I was really pleased that none of the dyes bled on the sock blank itself. Some of the purples that I had painted up are lighter than when I painted them, and some of them broke actually at the bottom. I did a few little trees and they were all in the purple, but they seemed to have broken into a little bit of greens and blues, but that's okay. I think it just makes it interesting. So yeah, that my first sock blank that I've ever completed. So yeah, I was happy with that. That was a fun way to experiment with a new to me technique, and also getting it in again for another class over at the Harry Potter group. The other artistic endeavors that I've been undertaking over the last little while, unfortunately I can't share with you. As I mentioned earlier, Lisa at Fibernymph Dyeworks, the 90% Knitting podcast, and I have been in contact about collaborating on a special yarn club that she is starting tomorrow. I believe it's, well, when you see this, it'll be January the 8th is when she starts opening for a 3-month yarn club that she's doing. She has wonderful self-striping yarns that she makes up, and I'm thrilled to be adding to her little packages to everyone some of my handmade stitch markers, progress keepers. So unfortunately I can't share them with you because they're going to be a surprise, so they're super secret on exactly what they are, but they are 3 new designs that I've done that I've never had in my shop before, and they're going to be exclusive to her yarn club for 6 months. So after 6 months time, I may add them to my Etsy shop. But until then, unfortunately, it's going to be under wraps on exactly what it is that I've made for her. But it's a fairly large order, so I have been pretty busy sculpting those and painting those and getting those ready for her. So it's a great honor and a thrill to be participating in that. It's the first time I've ever done anything like that. So lots of fun. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing people's reactions when they get their club orders to see my little piece of it included. So thank you so much, Lisa, for letting me collaborate with you. It's so much fun and a great honor. So other than that, I've been also doing a few more of my regular items in my shop. Now that all the sales are over, my shop's kind of getting a little more empty. January and February will be restocking time, I think, for the shop. So I have started on that, and I'll be restocking it as I go. So you'll see some of the things being added to the shop there. If there is something special that you want that you haven't seen in the shop, let me know, and I can let you know when that's going to be restocked. Let's see. I think that's it for all my projects. The last thing that I wanted to do today was do the prize draws for both the Toy Knit-Along and the Harry Potter Knit-Along. So we'll start with the Toy Along next. Okay, so the Toy Knit-Along was great fun to have all the participation from everybody, and I was really thrilled that people have been enjoying their prizes so far. So here's the last 3 prizes from the Victorian Studio podcast group entries over on Ravelry. So we had 290 posts in that thread, so I went over as usual to random.org and set it to search between posts number 2 and 290, and the following 3 winners were chosen that way. The first one for a $10 giftable Ravelry pattern goes to post number 144, and that's Lily Maya. So Lily Maya, when you see this, let me know what pattern you would like me to gift you for $10 US or less, and I'll be sure to do that. So congratulations. The second prize today is one charm from my shop, so a charm of your choice over in the Victorian Studio shop on Etsy. Just go over there, let me know what you would like, and I will send that to the winner of post number 249. That's Allison Roseboom. Congratulations, Allison. And the final drawing for the toy cal is for the bird project bag, and this is the final bag that I sewed up for the toy knit along. Has the bird names interior and the bird material, nice long handle on it. And this goes to post number 243, and this actually goes to Vonnie, Studio Von Designs. So congratulations, Vonnie, you win the project bag. So thank you everyone for all your participation in that knit along. As usual, it was great fun to see everyone's toys in there. So the last thing today is 6 drawings for the entries in the 2017 Harry Potter knit along over in our group. So let's see, the first prize, well, let's see, the random.org again chose these for posts between number 2 and 2,707. So the first one is for $10 or less giftable Ravelry pattern, and that goes to post number 372, IRYL Knits. So congratulations. When you see this, let me know what pattern you'd like me to gift to you, and I will do that over on Ravelry. Congrats to you. Okay, the next prize is for the platform 9 3/4 bag, tote bag, and this goes to post number 1503, the Bees Knits. So congratulations. When you see this, let me know your address and I will send this off to you. Okay, the next prize is for the Harry Potter book stitch markers that I made up. Let me just get that out of my prize bag here. There it is. Okay, this is the set of 7 books that I made up and put in this little Harry Potter bag. So these I made up last year. This is the last set. Here we go. So if you haven't seen these before, this is the little replicas of the Harry Potter books, all 7 of them. And this prize goes to post number 388, J Rain, J-R-A-I-N. So congratulations, you win the stitch marker set. So let's get these back in here. All right. So that's the third prize. 3 more to go. The Harry Potter bag that I sewed up is next, and that's this project bag that has the sayings from the book, and then the light colored interior. And this goes to post number 914, M. Way Brent. So congratulations, send me your address when you see this. The last 2 prizes are yarn prizes. So the next one is a skein of O-Loops yarn, and this was donated by Lydia over at O-Loops Yarn. Thank you so much, Lydia, for your generosity. This is her boxcar base, and that's 85% superwash merino, 15% nep, 438 yards in the Giggle Water colorway. Really beautiful. And this goes to post number 2170, Siberian Cat. So congratulations. Let me know when you see this, and and send me your address so I can mail that out to you. And we have one last prize. This was a skein of yarn that was donated by Erica Luder of Dreams in Fiber, and she's the wonderful author of the very famous Hermione's Everyday Socks and all the other wonderful Harry Potter patterns that are on Ravelry as well. And this is her Superwash Merino DK yarn, 230 yards, and this is in the Charms colorway. And this goes to post number 649, Lisa of Saratoga Knitting. Congratulations, Lisa, you've won some beautiful yarn from Erica Luder. So thank you, Erica, for your donation to the podcast. And congratulations, Lisa, on winning the final prize in the 2017 Harry Potter Knit-Along. So thank you, everyone, for all your participation in that, Cal. It was so much fun. I'm so happy that we're continuing it on for another year. So, as I said, head over to Ravelry if you're interested in participating again in 2018 or participating for the first time for some new prizes that we'll start drawing for after the first month, after the end of January. So more prizes on the way. So if you haven't won yet and you still want to participate, there's still going to be plenty of opportunity to win. We'll be doing prizes at least once a month for that knit-along. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I had to share with you, and I hope you'll return again for the next episode of the Victorian Studio podcast. Until then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.